Jason, based on the attendance, should we go ahead and get started?
Yeah, I think we're good if we get started.
Okay, perfect. To conduct this meeting wholly electronically and to effectuate both the emergency procedure authorized by FOIA and the emergency
Lula?
ordinance. Yes.
I'm sorry. Can there? I'm getting a lot of background noise. I think from somebody. Could anybody who's not speaking mute?
I'll mute everybody and then Lula, just unmute yourself. That works.
I am unmuted.
Okay, now do it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Thank you. And we are being recorded. Got it. Welcome, everyone. To conduct this meeting wholly electronically and to effectuate both the emergency procedures authorized by FOIA and the emergency ordinance, the Fairfax County Athletic Council needs to make certain findings and determination for the record. It's a bit cumbersome, so I ask for your patience. First, because each member of the Fairfax County Athletic Council is participating in this meeting from a separate location, we must verify that a quorum of members is participating and that each member's voice is clear, audible, and an appropriate volume for all the other members. Accordingly, I'm going to conduct the roll call and ask each member participating in this meeting to state your name and the location from which you are participating. I ask that each of you pay close attention to ensure that you can hear each of your colleagues. Following this roll call, we will vote to establish that every member can hear every other member. Jason?
All right. Braddock District, Marsha Pape Daniels.
This is Marcia Pape, and I am participating from my office in the Braddock District.
Thanks, Marsha. And Braddock alternate, Marco Mira. Drainsville District, Greg Beckwith. Are you there, Greg? All right, well, we can come back. Drainsville alternate, Brian Lewis. Hunter Mill District. Oh, you there, Greg?
I'm sorry, Jason. This is Greg. I'm on my cell phone heading towards Great Falls, Virginia.
No worries. Thanks, Greg. Hunter Mill District, Jeremy Lee. Or alternate, Harold Leff. Lee District, Lisa Mickey. Or alternate, Bill Bright. Mason District, Barbara Lowry.
I'm here from my home in Mason District.
Thanks, Barbara. Mount Vernon District, Lester Munson. Or alternate, Bob Kirk.
Bob Kirk's here from my home in Alexandria.
Thank you, sir. Providence District, Steve McLaughlin. Or alternate, Kelly Agawasawala.
I'm here from my home in Providence District.
Oh, thank you. Springfield District, Mike Thompson.
I'm here from Tyson's Corner.
Thank you, sir. Alternate, Mark Heilbrun. Sully District, Gary Flather.
Gary's here from his home in Sully District.
Thanks, Gary. And Sully alternate, Mark Abbott. Diversity at large, Mark Fernandez. Or alternate, Eric Sohn. Member at large, Catherine Quinn. Or alternate, Anne-Marie Swope. Town of Clifton, Jeff Stein. Town of Herndon, Roland Taylor. Town of Vienna, Tom Hanton. Baseball Council, Rob Haney. Rob, are you on? It looks like he's on. He might be coaching or something. Basketball Council, Steve Bergstrom. Or alternate, Stu Clark. Fast pitch softball, Susie Williamson. Or alternate, Ryan Buchanan. Football Council, Mark Miena. Or alternate, Ted Hollingsworth.
Ted Hollingsworth here from Oakton, Virginia.
Thanks, Ted. Lacrosse Council, Marianne Wagner. Or alternate, Dave Paddock. Slow pitch softball, Christine Idup. Soccer council, Lula Bauer.
I'm here in my home in Alexandria, Virginia.
Soccer alternate, Trish Moxie. Volleyball council, Rob Bailey.
Here in Annandale, Virginia.
Thanks, Rob. Volleyball alternate, Anne-Marie Swope. Women's sports, Jenny Cantwell. Or alternate, Hillary Richardson.
Hillary is
Park-
here from her home in Reston.
Awesome. Thanks, Hillary.
You're welcome.
Fairfax County Park Authority, Mike Thompson's still here. And I see Dan Sutherland's filling in for Kurt Lewis.
Yes, and I think Rob has his hand up.
Oh. Rob Ani?
I am
There
here
now?
if you can hear me now.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, I'm here. Sorry, guys.
Oh, no worries. And Fairfax County Public Schools, Megan McLaughlin. Bill Curran.
This is Bill Curran. I am here.
Thanks, Bill. Vicky Garner.
I'm here from Gatehouse.
And NCS Lloyd Tucker. Keisha Dodson.
Here from Centerville.
Thanks, Keisha. Karen Navisato. Mark Martino.
I'm here from home, and I saw Eric Sohn is also on. Jason, I saw him pop up.
Eric Sohn, you here? All right, it's close. Let me count these. 1, 2.
Hey,
We have
Eric,
13.
say something out loud because we have to certify that we can hear you and you can hear us.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Okay.
And I just got an email from Anne Marie that she is on via cell phone. So I think we are good now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So at this point, I will pass the virtual gavel to Gary Flather, our vice chairman, so that I may be heard to make the requisite motion. I move that each member's voice be adequately heard by each other member of the Fairfax County Athletic Council.
Is there a second?
Second. This is Marcia.
Marcia seconds. Are there any objections? The motion passes.
Second, having established that each member's voice may be heard by every other member, we must establish the nature of the emergency that compels these emergency procedures. The fact that we are meeting electronically, what type of electronic communication is being used, and how we have arranged the public access to this meeting. Therefore, I moved that the state of emergency caused by COVID-19 pandemic makes it unsafe for the Fairfax County Athletic Council to physically assemble and unsafe for the public to physically attend any such meeting, and that as such, FOIA's usual procedures, which require the physical assembly of the Fairfax County Athletic Council and the physical presence of the public, cannot be implemented safely or practically. I further move that the Fairfax County Athletic Council may conduct this meeting electronically via Microsoft Teams, and that the public may access this meeting by calling 1-571-429-5982.
It is so moved.
Marcia again seconds.
All right. Any objections? The motion's approved.
Finally, and the next required that all matters addressed on today's agenda must address the emergency itself, are necessary for continuity of the Fairfax County government and or statutory required or necessary to continue operations and the discharge of the Fairfax County Athletic Council lawful purposes, duties, and responsibilities. Is it so moved?
Marcia, you want a second again?
Sure. Second.
Trifecta.
There we go.
There you go. Any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Fantastic. So lots of playoffs, districts, all kinds of sports going on in our Fairfax community this evening. Very exciting. Are there any citizens that would like the opportunity to address the council? No? Okay, any presentations to the council? None. Administrative items to approve the April 20th minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Gary seconds the motion.
Any objections? So moved. Chairman's report. The report that I have this evening is from last meeting. Susie, our representative softball, has addressed the Board of Supervisors and she has received in terms of reactivating the the APRT. She's received a response from our chairman, Jeff McKay, and therefore the Athletic Council, we're drafting up a letter to send to the Board of Supervisors in support of reactivating the APRT. So that's where we are with that. I have no further reports. We'll move right along to committee reports. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Gary Flather.
Great. Thank you, Lula. Thanks, everybody. So just wanted to follow up on the subcommittee meeting on communications with FCPS and other members of the Fairfax County. First off, we did have a meeting last night. Want to thank Vicki Gardner and Paul Hatcher for scheduling that meeting. It's a good first step. I think we still have a lot of work to do. We do need to schedule a follow-up meeting, and I do want to, I'll make this somewhat brief. Rob Honey sent an email out to those that attended the meeting. Some of you that are on the meeting tonight were on the meeting last night as well. Rob sent some notes out from that meeting. He sent them personally, just on himself, but I did review it as the chairman of the subcommittee. I did review his notes, and I think he touched on the talking points that were had. So I would like to enter the notes that Rob submitted and share with the Athletic Council through Jason. If that's acceptable, I don't know if we need to make a motion to do that or not.
Just so I understand, those notes having been sent to so many members of the committee and the council should automatically be made part of the potential public. I mean, they're FOIAble and part of the public record.
Okay.
What are you asking to do? I guess I'm just trying to understand what you're asking to do with them.
Yeah, I want to share it with the Athletic Council because the entire Athletic Council was not in the meeting. So I just want Jason to share it with the Athletic Council as a follow-up to the report that I sent last month, requesting a meeting. So the meeting was held. Just a couple of highlights for everybody, and then I'll move on. We would like the next meeting to be in person. We would like to see an agenda before the meeting is scheduled. I think some of us were unprepared because of the short notice on the meeting. It was good to have the meeting. We appreciate it being pulled together. It's always hard to pull that many people together to get a meeting started. But we would like to work, and Vicki, I'd like to work with you directly on that agenda so that we can cover some of the bases that were in the report that the committees submitted that we've been talking about for the last 9 months. And then we also, one of the issues that was brought up that wasn't addressed was the 8420. So we would like to get some more information. I know John Chapman provided us some information a few months ago, but we still would like to see some more information on that. I think the key is the communication part, just ensuring that we can open this communications to address some of the issues that the committee has brought forward. I think just because it was short notice, there was a couple of DSAs on and a few other people that spoke, but they were obviously not prepared with some of the issues that the committee had requested to be addressed. They were addressing some of the weather-related cancellations and COVID, and we've talked about that as a council for months. But again, I think it was a good first step, and I think we need to have a follow-up meeting. Hopefully, we can get something scheduled a couple weeks in advance so that everybody has an opportunity to see what the agenda is and have some data that we can discuss and move forward on. That's it for my subcommittee. Unless anybody has any input or questions, I'll leave it up to that.
I just want to add, just so that the school folks
Hold on, Mike.
get
Mike,
get this.
There's an echo. Sorry. All right. You want to go ahead and unmute Mike? There you go. Thanks.
Okay. I just want to reinforce what Gary said about scheduling. Some of us have really, really busy schedules. I mean, I was lucky enough that I could find a spot in an airport in Dallas, Texas to join. But realistically, there's a lot of people and we're all volunteers. It would be really, really helpful if there was more notice. I think that's a point to emphasize back to FCPS about trying to make these work in the future.
Yeah, I agree with that, Mike. Any other questions for me or the committee? I think Rob has his hand up. Rob Honey. You're on mute, Rob.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I just want to thank Vicky and the office, everybody that put it together. I think you all just gave the feedback that was necessary. As Gary said, I think it was a great first step, and I think it's just nice especially when we're able to get in a room together. I think we all start to recognize that we're serving the same kids and same families, and when we work together, it makes everybody's job easier. So to me, great first step and exciting work to do moving forward. But thank you, Vicky, and everybody that put it together.
And Jason, somebody else has their hand up. I can't see who it is.
It looks like Megan McLaughlin.
Okay.
Hey, Megan, are you there? Oh, there you go.
Yep, I'm here. Is my video not showing up?
Now it is.
Okay. Yeah, so I was delayed on a call with our chair of the school board. So I'm kind of coming in a little bit later. I looked at the agenda and thought I was gonna not be missing anything that was school related. So I got on just as Mike Thompson was talking about something related to schools. So my ears are burning.
Sorry about that, Megan.
No worries. So is it that you guys had a meeting, or is it that nobody was here until now?
No, yeah, Megan, I think I can address that. This is Gary. So we had a meeting last night, and the issue, I'll use the word issue, was that the meeting was set up only a few days in advance, and we wanted to make sure that the next meeting that occurs, that there's more notice given and an agenda put forward so that people, being all volunteers on these committees and the council and such, that everybody has a chance to be prepared to be part of it.
Okay, so the meeting yesterday was on what topic?
On the report that I submitted last month on the subcommittee for communications with FCPS community use, FCPA, NCS, and the community users. This was the first step meeting to get some of those folks together to have conversations about that report.
Excellent. I know that I just wanted to let everybody know I happen to be, I'll have an update later in the meeting from Chairman McKay. As you know, he and Dan Stork on the Board of Supervisors, Karen Corbett Sanders, and I have been working on the stadium bathrooms issue. So I want to bring you up to date on that. But he also demonstrated his sensitivity and awareness that there have been some issues with FCPS staff and access of NCS and others using our stadium fields, that there's been some issues with community use access, which caused my jaw to drop, and Jeff laughed at my reaction because I feel strongly that that's, we invested in these fields and as a community, not FCPS as a controlling entity. So that was concerning to me. And then since our last meeting, or your last meeting as a council, I had a state delegate reach out to me because FCPS school officials canceled on a community group that was going to have over 700 attendees at very last minute. And it took me and another board member really championing the FCPS central office to say, you better find a solution here, because this is not okay to do to our community. So I did want to just let you all know, while I wasn't at yesterday's meeting, I don't know all the details. I wanted you to know that even our chair of the board, who I just talked to, Stella Pekarski, who, Gary, maybe she's your area for Sully.
She is.
Yeah. I mean, this is not going unnoticed. So if anything I can say of value right now, it's that you've got a number of board members who are keenly interested in making sure that we are good partners and that there isn't last minute cancellations. And in the end, this affects our residents, and many of our residents are our families too. So we want to be helpful in addressing it. So I'm done. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. Thank you, Megan. I think your words were very well received, and quite honestly are very much on point with the efforts that we're making. And like Rob Honey said, as you came into the meeting, we thank Vicki and Paul for pulling it together. There's a little bit of challenges with people not being prepared and whatnot, but I think it's a good first step, and we need to push forward with the next meeting. And I think your words are very well received. I certainly appreciate it. Jason, I'll give it back to you. I think there's a couple more hands up.
Yeah, it looks like just Lula, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I do. And sorry, my batteries ran dead. I thought I was glad that I was able to have some conversation. I was at the meeting. I just wanted to also interject that
Lula, can you get closer?
Can you hear me now?
A little bit.
And okay, I wasn't going to say anything about seeing so close. But anyway, I was at the meeting as well. You hit it, the nail on the head. It's about the last minute cancellations. We've all agreed to meet again. At the end, I did want to say it is so important that at this meeting, we also address the economic, the financial impact it's having on our membership, especially in those areas, for example, the Route 1 corridor, when these families pulled together, scraped together $45 to make sure that their children have some sense of normalcy and play in organized sports, only to get that taken away from them at the last minute. When I say taken away from them, I mean they scrape together to pay for a complement of 6 games, 7 games, 8 games. And this season of all seasons, they are not getting that complement of games, and they're really frustrated and upset because the money that they don't have, they're not getting the service, the customer service that they are paying for. So I did mention at that meeting, I would like to see that looked at. And also, I just feel that this is just how my brain works. I just feel that data drives solutions. And I just would like to see some delegation for the members to go and gather that data and then present that data. And I think that will help us come up with a solution that's going to benefit everyone, the schools. I mean, I coached at West Springfield High School. I coached at Yorktown. I coached high school. I love our schools and I understand, but I also know that we really depend on our community. So that's what I'm going to say, Gary. If you have any input, you said that you were going to ask to be part of the agenda. And if that could be looked into, I would really appreciate it, especially the fact that we have the Herndon area, and then we have the Reston area, and then we have the Route 1 corridor, where we have such a high number of Title I schools in the community. So that's all I wanted to add. And you were shaking your head, so it must mean you heard me.
Yes, well said.
Well, no, it's my computer. Is there any other discussions, any other hands up, Jason?
Yeah, Megan McLaughlin and then Mike Thompson.
Just real quickly, Lula, to emphasize what you just described, and it's why I'm so upset about, and I've been talking to Bill Curran about it, and how do we fix it, not just be upset about it. And you know, one idea that came through my mind when we were dealing with the other group I just described, you know, I'm supportive of us as a school system and the leadership coming from the school board, you know, through this subcommittee coming for solutions. But one of them I think is there has to be a moratorium on when the cancellation can occur. You know, we need to explain to our school, you know, administrators, look, here's your window. You cannot turn around and cancel last minute. If something comes up that you've got to make some changes, number one, prevent it all possible. Number two, you know, why don't you just take the newer reason for it and either shift the usage somewhere else, like find the solution, but don't just cancel and leave people with nothing. And like I said, I think if you say something like, if in window of time that within 3 business days, something comes up that you didn't expect, well, you really can't cancel unless, you know, you're going to have to go to some sort of appeals process. I just think we've got to put a little stick in there, not just carrots, but sticks that say you don't just get to cancel because it's just convenient or it's easy, or you don't take seriously the impact that everything that Lula said and others. Thank you.
Mike Thompson.
Yeah, so a couple things. First, especially, I want to say this especially because Megan joined a little bit late while I was talking. First, I want to thank Vicky for the meeting. I mean, we do appreciate you reaching out and the work and working towards a solution. So thank you for that. Second, Gary, maybe the one way to proceed would be for us to have a committee meeting where we invite the schools to the committee meeting, work out a date with them, and it could be an official public meeting for the, you know, versus a school meeting that calls a bunch of citizens to it. It could be done. So maybe that's one way if to address the issues around concerns about agendas and timing and stuff. It you know, that could be a solution. I think that some of the issues Megan brought up are exactly why the committee is so important, and why, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday afternoon, why it's so important to have communication between the organizations and especially the DSAs directly, because there are what I'll just call them, you know, they're straight up acts of God. There's going to be a lightning storm that comes through and wipes out a lacrosse game on Friday night or on Thursday night that all of a sudden has to get moved and may take up some community use time. But at least back in the day when I was dealing with DSAs at Lake Braddock, we were able to deal with that just with a phone call. It didn't happen very often. It happened, once a year or something where it had an impact, but we were able to solve and work on it. But I think those are the exact kinds of issues that the committee we're talking about can deal with it. And maybe, and Megan, I don't mean to throw you under the bus this way, but maybe Gary, we're able to organize that committee meeting in a way that Megan can potentially attend or be part of it, so that she can understand rather than just getting snippets and snapshots of it in her attendance here. I mean, I know her schedule is absolutely crazy insane, but maybe there's a way to do that so that we're in a place where the full athletic council meetings are less catch up of committee and more directed at trying to work towards solutions that might come from the committee.
I like it.
Happy to attend anytime, Mike.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you both. Jason, any other hands?
You just got yours. Is that an old hand?
That's an old hand.
Then no more hands raised.
Okay. Moving right along. Reports by the sports representatives.
First is baseball council, Rob.
Sorry, can I go after? I'm at a baseball game. I got a national anthem getting ready to start. So
Sure,
if
no
I
worries.
could go at the end, thanks.
No problem. Basketball, I don't think anybody's on. Fast pitch softball is Susie on. Then it's football council, Ted.
Thanks. We're obviously in off season right now and getting prepared for the season. The biggest issue we've been working on is shortage of officials and trying to figure out what new organizations we're going to be able to bring in. We've heard that there's challenges from all the associations we use in terms of retaining officials. So it's been a substantial amount of work that we've been doing.
Thanks, Ted. Next is lacrosse council, Marianne, but I also saw Jeff Deals on. Jeff, did you have any update for lacrosse?
Sorry, I had trouble taking myself off of. We are entering postseason play. Everything's going great, and nothing else to report.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Slow pitch, nobody's soccer council, Lula.
Again, referee shortage. So with the referee shortage adds to the cancellations and adds to what are we paying for type of thing. It's just sort of cyclical. This season has been really atypical with Fairfax County Public Schools spring break, and then the Easter break one week after. And then of course we have Memorial Weekend holiday, and then school letting out June 10th. And then the last day of our permits on the 15th. So it was really super difficult to get an 8-game program, of which all the soccer groups in the in Fairfax County run within that period of time. It was super difficult. So on top of the cancellations, trying to find space in order to give our membership those complemented games, we're all struggling. But the very cool thing is that's come out of this is that instead of going to our scheduling point of contact, we call each other and we say, do you have a 3-hour time slot here or a 2-hour time slot here? And we rearrange for each other, and then we call our point of contact. Victor is ours. So that's the really cool thing that's happened. The byproduct is that we all started working together and not in the past they're so protective of their field space because they're afraid if they turn it in they're going to lose it. So that's been pretty awesome. But I'm sure all the other sports have been dealing with this atypical season with spring break and then the permits ending June 15th. But other than that, we are moving right along, we're into big tryout season right now. For those of you that play that have children playing travel sports, that's always a very, very stressful time. So that's it for soccer.
Thanks, Lula. Volleyball, Rob and Anne-Marie.
Hi there. So ending up the rec season here shortly. I know some of the leagues are getting ready with their all-stars. Other than that, it's kind of the meat of the club season here. So a lot of teams have already gone through their regionals or preparing for nationals. And then outside of that, we're just starting to get prepared for fall season. And on the high school boys side, got to set up a time with Bill here. I think we should be able to do it next week and kind of talk about how we can move that forward. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. That's it, Lula.
Okay.
I can go, Rob.
Oh, there you go. Yep. Sorry about that, Rob.
Sorry, I'm at Anne Marie's at the same baseball game I'm at over in Vernon, so I apologize if there's noise. Baseball, same thing. Big time shortage of umpires, and I think we had talked about putting a committee together, and I think that's something we need to look at. That has been an issue. Another, on a positive side, we started state of baseball luncheons, meeting with all youth leagues, Little League, Babe Ruth, travel, you name it, high school reps here locally. And it has now spread nationally. And we'll be hosting a state of baseball summit this fall, I believe at the National Harbor, but headed up or led by Fairfax County to bring the baseball community together and talk about ways to grow and promote the game and recruit and retain players and umpires. So it's pretty exciting. Just want to announce that. Thank you. I know it's loud, so I'm going to sign off.
Sounds like an exciting game. Good for you. On to the next matters of interest from our governing bodies. School board.
Megan, you're up.
I'm up again. Okay. So I did want to elaborate a little bit more on the stadium bathrooms issue. Again, this is something that Chairman McKay had really taken a leadership role in, along with Mount Vernon Supervisor Dan Stork. He assembled a working group of which I've been part of with Karen Corbett Sanders out of Mount Vernon as well. And it's my understanding that he is preparing a formal presentation to the Board of Supervisors with to garner their full commitment to setting a plan in place to get these stadium bathrooms into, I believe it's 15 remaining high school stadiums. So I don't want to steal his thunder, but I did want to let you all know that since I presented on this at prior FCAC meetings, that I'm really excited that by getting the Board of Supervisors and school boards jointly, similar to their commitment on the synthetic turf field task force work, that the two governing bodies with oversight of our operating budgets and our year-end funds, that we can hopefully collectively come together and really get something definitively done for these stadiums and the benefits it'll bring to all residents who visit our stadiums, whether to play or to watch as spectators, and in addition to sports tourism. And the goal would be that really to develop a plan to try and get them into the stadiums within the next 1 or 2 year time frame. I'll be working with our departing facilities superintendent, Jeff Plattenberg, who maybe some of you have heard is moving over from FCPS to take a new job with the city of Fairfax schools, and where he'll be their superintendent. So we won't lose him from the area, luckily, and I hope to continue to draw on his knowledge on facilities, which are so extensive and will be extremely important. But I did want to restate an earlier request I had when I first brought up this topic. So if you've all done this and I didn't get a chance to see it, I apologize. But I had mentioned that a formal letter from the athletic council saying that you support this proposal for the board of supervisors and the school board to jointly get fund and initiate this this project to get the stadium bathrooms in. I think it would be wonderful. I know that Chairman McKay mentioned trying to get this pulled together and presented next Tuesday. So I wanted to get your all's input on where that might stand, what might you need for that consideration, but I do think a formal letter would be helpful. I think the board of supervisors are a little more clear on this than I think the school board is, because as you all know, we have 200 schools plus our playing facilities. And I think anything we can get that helps the school board members understand, again, the collective need and will and interest would be good. So I'll pause there.
So before anybody else can throw anybody else under the bus, I'm going to move that Gary and Lula be empowered to draft a letter on behalf of the athletic council and send it to the school board and the board of supervisors, expressing our support for getting bathrooms at the remaining high school fields.
Are there any
Just roll and Taylor, I second.
objections? So moved. Thank you for that.
Great. Thank you all. That you made that quite easy. And the only other thing I would say is due to my scheduling, when I talked to Bill Curran, I wasn't able to attend your latest meeting. Is there any questions I can answer from anyone on the council about concerns, again, related to FCPS's partnership, which I will again say I know is something we take very seriously. So anything I can either answer or at least bring back to the school board, please let me know. Because I'm sorry we've been disappointing the community.
We will certainly keep that in mind. If we have any questions for you, we'll certainly reach out. So thank you very much. Moving right along, Park Authority. Dan?
Jason's bringing it up now. Just want to give you an update on some of the projects we have going on with the fields. With Patriot Park North, it's estimated about 55% done. A little drill down within that information is the two smaller synthetic fields are scheduled to be done around August timeframe. About half the parking lot's going to open up about that time as well. Within a month or so, right after that opening, the bathrooms and concession, hopefully for those two fields, hope to open up as well. After that, it'll be approximately a year or so, hopefully no later than December of 23, that the remaining portion of the complex will be completed. The 4 other 90s, the announcer's booth, bathrooms, playground, and the rest of the parking lot. The other updates there, the fencing at Franconia Synthetic Field was completed. That's the fencing that's behind the goal. Franklin Farm, the dome backstop was replaced. Great Falls Nike 4 resurfacing was moved back from this summer to fall of 2022. The irrigation and the related infield renovation work was completed and those fields are all open. Langley Forks 2 and 3, the backstops are scheduled to be upgraded and replaced somewhat by early summer. Same with Lewinsville 1 and Olney 1 and 2. At Loisdale, the fencing that was behind one of the goals was not up to the same standards we have now been using at a lot of our fields behind the goals, and so it was upgraded in width and height. So hopefully it better contains the soccer balls and any other balls that are being used on the field. Reston North dome backstops have been replaced as well. And I believe that pretty much wraps up any updates. The other work is ongoing or will be completed by within the next year or so, depending on which project it is. And I don't have anything new for 2023. I will mention with Scott's Run, the synthetic field there, that we just have been reviewing plans, so I still don't have a timeline or more specific timeline for the field, but it's still hopefully going to be done next winter. And that's all I have.
Hey, Dan, could you also talk a little bit about Mount Vernon Rec Center?
Mike, I'll probably have to get back to everybody on that. I have not heard the date, or if I have forgotten it. But I can make a note and I'll try to send something to Jason to put out.
Well, but putting aside the date, I just, because I know that we often don't talk about ice hockey and those kinds of things here, but it has a huge community impact. So could you talk, I think you probably are more up to the detail. I can hit maybe highlights, but about how we're closing it down and the renovation and how no one's going to have access for a while.
Yeah, that's my understanding exactly, is the ice will be shut down as it gets replaced, and a lot of the supporting structure are going to be replaced, and upgraded locker rooms and restrooms and all that. Again, I don't know much more than that, unfortunately, Mike. It doesn't affect my branches directly, and I haven't overheard anything recently. But what I'll try to do is get a summary that I can ship to Jason, and he can ship it out for everybody's knowledge.
That would be great. Just so everybody knows, the end result is going to be, when they renovate the rec center, will be that we'll have 2 sheets of ice instead of 1. But one of the things that was found out is through this renovation process we're about to go through, in some cases we're able to keep a facility partially open and work through some stuff and kind of roll through the renovation. That's not the way we're going to have to approach this for a variety of structural and logistic reasons. The entire rec center is going to be shut down. And I don't remember I don't remember when it happens. Dan, we can pull some material together for you, but I want to say it's going to be shut down for like 2 years. And notices have begun to go out to the community. But while ice hockey is not a sport that we often talk about here, it is a sport the community is heavily involved in. Ice time is at a premium, and this will clearly put a pinch on ice time for the short term, but will end up giving us an entire additional sheet of ice when all is said and done. But I just wanted to make sure folks were aware of the impact that this would have.
Okay, very good. Are you muted?
No, I was just going to say that's all I have, unless there's any other questions. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Dan. Neighborhood and community services.
Mark, I'll start and then toss it to you. Just wanted to let the council know that NCS is definitely in support of you. We've heard some of your concerns and some of the things that have been addressed on the call tonight. So we will be available to help with scheduling and coordinating, but also to let you know that a small group of us from NCS has been meeting with Vicki and Paul, and we'll continue to do that in a smaller setting while working on solutions between our 2 entities. But for scheduling support, looking at future dates, I think we mentioned a desire to have an in-person meeting and maybe a series of meetings. NCS is available to help support with that. So I just wanted to reiterate that for you all tonight on the call. And Mark, did you have some additional updates for us?
No, nothing major, just, finishing up the spring season, finishing up the spring security stuff that's been out there, police and school security, that'll end at the end of May. My dog's legs are crossed, but he'll get over it. And then getting into the summer schedule. So we'll be getting that information out as soon as possible, probably in the next week or so. We're still working on summer scheduling and things like that. So any other questions, please don't hesitate, just reach out to us.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for that. I would just like to say thank you all, Megan, Dan, Mark, and Keisha, that your reports have provided new opportunities that are going to benefit our community. I mean, we've just come over a year and a half, 2 years of COVID, where there was sort of a halt in everything. Just to hear the great projects, the renovations for the school fields, I mean, for the fields in general, and then the bathrooms, I think that's just absolutely amazing. And then everything that NCS is doing, it really is quite promising and exciting to hear that we are working all together to provide greater opportunities for our kids. So I'm just super excited about this meeting. So thank you all for your reports. They were just awesome. New business.
Oh, there's a couple hands raised. Dan and then Megan.
I just want to take a second and let everybody know in the chat, I put a link to the rec center development plan. So it should give you a pretty good idea of what's going on with that, but I'll try to get some other information that's not included if there is anything, and I'll make sure I pass it on. But I wanted to get you that link as soon as possible.
Awesome.
Jason, can you be sure to email that link to everybody since some folks are on the phone only?
Yep, I got it from Dan, so I'll send it as well. Megan?
Selfishly, as a Braddock District's resident for almost 20 plus years, I was wanting to just make sure if I had maybe missed an update on what's happening with Audrey Moore. Is it still being scheduled to be renovated, or are there any updates on potential hiccups here? Because I think, as Marcia knows, I was a little surprised, and I definitely do not, with all these awesome people on the call, I'm going to just selfishly say, please tell me everything's still going to be okay.
Was that like a closing due to the swimming pool renovations, or do you know if that was really?
So
No.
So the issue with Audrey Moore, Megan, just so you know, clear as the Park Authority works through some what the bond cycles are going to be issues with the Board of Supervisors. That conversation will probably have a direct impact on Audrey Moore in terms of whether it slips a little or not. It was scheduled to be in the next bond, but if that bond slips 2 years, there are just some issues that are going to have to be worked through there that have not been worked through yet, but with the Board of Supervisors on their new approach on the bonding stuff.
But Mike, what exactly does that really mean? Because I'm trying to figure out, having watched the community battle FCPS when Woodson was, quote, slipping off the renovation queue and kept getting pushed back. I mean, Audrey Moore, you all have better knowledge than I do, but it's, if not the original of every rec center in the entire county. And I don't know how we ended up here, but it is the oldest. It is dilapidated. And those of us who've lived in Braddock, like I said, 2 decades or more, we've been waiting our turn. So who's controlling? Because to me, it's just unacceptable that we could be looking at a 2-year delay. And I will tell you, as a Braddock resident, I don't think anybody knows this is happening. And
Megan,
yeah.
as I think, as I apologize if I miscommunicated. As I think I communicated or tried to, those conversations are going on with the Board of Supervisors over the way that the bonding stuff is going to work. The Board of Supervisors, as I understand it, and I'm not the one involved in those conversations, but the Board of Supervisors, I think, has been made fully aware of what the impact would be, and I think that not only the Braddock supervisor but the Springfield supervisor are strong proponents of hopefully trying to get Audrey Moore done in the timeline that was originally planned for. But you know, as the county works through some of those funding questions, I think it's going to all work out. I hope it's all going to work out, but I can't commit to that in any real way, not knowing how the Board of Supervisors. It's not like there's a special park authority can levy a tax on the citizens or go out and do its own bond. We have to work through it, just like, unfortunately, I know that you guys do too, but there's lots of discussions going on, and I know that's, you know, I think we all know that it's important, and I don't think it's something that can be fully litigated here, but I know that we can certainly, I can certainly make sure that staff gives you a full briefing. I think Marcia's office has had I believe, I was told, had a briefing about what was going on with Audrey Moore, and you know, the 6-year bond cycle was a surprise that we've only been having to deal with for the last 2 or 3 months as a potential.
You know what, I'm gonna interrupt here, sorry guys, but I'm gonna interrupt and make a recommendation that, Dan, if you wouldn't mind going back, researching, finding out all the information that you can, and at the next meeting, please report on where we stand with soup to nuts. If that makes sense.
I'm taking a note. I'm making a note, and yes, I'll do that.
When I say soup to nuts, I mean exactly everything that Mike just mentioned. You know, the taxes, everything. I think that would probably help the rest of us that are listening to this conversation that really don't know the background. So if you wouldn't mind having that full report this next meeting.
I would recommend. I don't think any report on it has to include the fact that the park authority doesn't have tax authority. That's me as a park authority board member editorializing. I think what we need is just an update on the Braddock, on the process we're going through, and what the implications of the funding changes might be.
That's why I'm calling for the report, so we can, because like I said, the rest of us that are listening in have.
Which is what I was just trying to make sure Dan knew what to ask for, so that it focuses on the one project.
Sounds good. Great question. So we're going to move right along to
Lula.
Yes.
There's a couple hands raised. Sorry, Lula.
Oh, so
if
sorry.
I could, Megan, this is Marcia. We're happy to talk to you about this. We'll set that up offline. Okay. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I don't see the hands. Jason, are there any more hands?
Yeah, one more, Gary.
Thanks, Jason. I have 2 quick points to make. And Mike reminded me in the chat room that as the head of the subcommittee, I requested an in-person meeting, but we're still meeting virtually. And I think, and Mark, maybe you can take this back, or Keisha can answer, but I think Karen was going to go back and find out what the status was. I know Steve McLaughlin's probably right now wanting to kick me under the table because, you know, he was a proponent for remaining virtual, but I think the subcommittee would like to be able to meet in person for various reasons, but that's not to be answered here. But if we can get back on that. The second is, Megan, just so that we can, if Lula and I are going to draft a letter to go to the Board of Supervisors, is there somebody we can talk to just to make sure we can get the key points, so that we touch on those key points that you need us to touch on? That would be great.
Yeah. I'll circle back with Jeff McKay and his chief of staff and let them know, because I told him that I was going to be here tonight and enlisting your support. So what I can do is just make sure that we get from him some bullet points that he wants to make sure you guys can, provide in the reference letter. The recommendation for support.
Yep, no problem. Thank you. That's all I got, Lula.
Very good. Thank you so much. So any new business?
Yeah, Lula, just so everybody knows, I've been working with Karen. I think we're going to schedule a committee meeting on the allocation stuff Tuesday. And she's checking Gary on the same question because I asked her that I'd prefer to do it in person if possible. So hopefully we'll get an answer soon.
Okay, very good. Mike, can you remind me, am I on that committee?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Good. Do want to take into consideration small-sided versus full-sided fields. Okay.
Me too, Mike.
No, right. No, I know.
Okay, that's new business. Any old business? Perfect. Anybody want to make a motion?
Move to adjourn.
I second the motion. Gary.
Any objections? So moved. Good meeting, guys. Thank you so much. See you.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Jason.
See ya.
You're welcome. Good evening, everybody.